One piece of advice I would give to anyone that I've just learnt the hard way is once you've sold a guitar and you're waiting for someone to pick it up, probably don't spend the whole day prior to them picking it up playing it and then realising that you've maybe made a mistake. Yeah. Okay, so I've just sold the best guitar I've ever bought, and I mean by that, on paper, this Paul Reed Smith Special Semi-Hollow body is an incredible guitar. Probably a bit too much guitar for me, and that's what I'm going to get into right now. This was one of the first guitars I bought when I got back into playing guitar. I'd gone to Anderton's to look at Les Pauls and Telecasters. I did buy a Telecaster that day, and I didn't walk out with a Les Paul. Instead, I walked out with this very beautiful, I think, wonderfully lightweight, very Paul Reed Smith in its attention to detail, perfectly made, wonderful guitar at a great price. It was on sale. It had about £1,000 knocked off at the time because it was a New Year sale, I think. To be honest with you, not many hours have gone into me playing this guitar. So after 15 months, I decided to sell it. And then yesterday, I spent the whole day thinking I was going to make a video about why I've sold the best guitar I've ever bought. And just saying that it's too much guitar for me. I didn't need all of the splitting options and the 5-way selector and the 3 pickups and etc. And sat and played it through that little Princeton, the most beautiful clean tone, and realised I might have made a small mistake there. Because what I was going to say is this guitar with 3 pickups that you can split the 2 humbuckers, that you can play in 5 positions like a Strat, except that the middle position is not the middle pickup, it's the 2 humbuckers. You can split the 2 humbuckers independently of each other, unlike the DGT, for example, where you just split them. It offers so much that I always thought I'm just sort of trying to find a tone here that I don't really know what I'm looking for. With a Strat, with a Tele, with a Les Paul, I know the tone I'm trying to go for, which means often I end up just playing to get the tones that I know they make. And the mistake I've just realised is that with this guitar, not having a bar set for what sounds it should make, I actually was comfortable just playing it to sound like me, and literally the cogs are turning in my head as I'm making this video. I for a long time I sat there and I thought, I don't feel like a Paul Reed Smith player. This guitar is too perfect. I like a bit of a rugged edge. I like to see that something is, not perfect, because I always think, my playing is not such of a high level that I deserve really to have the best instruments there are. And you get that slight sense of imposter syndrome mixed with a bit of FOMO. So you end up buying things to see what they're like, then thinking, this is a bit too good for what I need. I get this a lot. Maybe some of you do, maybe some of you don't. So I always sat there thinking, I don't know what sound I should come out with. I'm not confident enough to just say, this is me, I play this guitar and this is the sound I want to make. I'm sort of chasing for all these tones. And, from time to time I do come across a great tone that I'm so happy with. Like recently I made a video with my Bloomfield drive and my ES355 and 2 pedals, and that's like, for me, a tone that I've had in my head that's been a bit vague, and suddenly I found it and I'm so happy with it. And yesterday, as I was sitting with this guitar and this amp, the little Princeton, I had that moment again, except it was just a few hours before the guitar was leaving. So this guitar now represents a benchmark and a goal for me. maybe, you know, this is something that you've done yourself. I'm now saying to myself, if I can reach these certain points of playing that I have in mind, which I'm going to detail in another video about that sort of thing, then maybe I will see if I can find a guitar like that again. Ultimately, what I figured out spending a whole 8 or 9 hours playing it yesterday was that the tools it offered weren't getting in my way. They were actually offering me a lot of options, and if I was just willing to put aside all my preconceptions of the sounds that I want to make to be like other people, that I could make the most out of this guitar. That's now the lesson I've learned from this escapade. I was going to say the lesson I've learned is that I really just love the 4 main shapes: Strat, Tele, Les Paul, ES3, 35, 355. And that is so true. Those are the shapes that emotionally tug at, you know, pull at my heartstrings. That's what I grew up with my parents listening to music made on those instruments and wishing that I was Jimmy Page or Jimi Hendrix or whoever it was. And now realize that I'm never going to be like them. I'm never going to have the chops like them, as hard as I try. And, you know, I'm not trying to look for sort of like some sort of, I don't know, sympathy with that. It's not a false sense of self-pity. It's just realistic to see that at this point in my life, I can go one of 2 ways. I can keep trying to chase down the dreams that I set for myself years and years ago that sort of embed themselves in you as a person. They form who you are, and I can keep looking for those. I can keep trying to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan. I can keep trying to play like Jimi Hendrix, and I can keep trying to keep up with all the great players I see on YouTube. Or I can be realistic with what my skills set is. I can hone and craft that. I can realize that, you know, making music is going to be a long-term thing that makes me contented and happy in the long term, and that I don't have to be able to play the way, you know, the blistering, incredible, fast, lyrical, well-phrased stuff straight away, maybe never. And essentially, what, you know, if I can just keep improving bit by bit, then, you know, I might be really proud of what I can play in 5 or 10 years' time. So this guitar, I could have seen it that way, and the reason I'm making this video is, you know, it might just be a reminder to some people, like it is to me, that looking for the tone might mean something else. And in you've probably got your own style. I know some of you already very strongly sure of what your style is, and you know, some of the rest of us are looking for that ability. I guess I'm still learning the vocabulary, like, you know, the guitar vocabulary, the chords, the phrasing and everything. And yeah, I've sold off this guitar. I didn't really lose any money on it, so that's okay. And with it, I'm buying a new amplifier. I'm buying a Rift amplification Ainsley Lister signature amp, because funny enough, I'm not into signature stuff normally. I've got my DGT just because I think it's an incredibly well thought out guitar and sounds great, and I wasn't looking to get an Ainsley. Have I got his name right? I've got to double check this. That's silly. Give me one moment. Yes, I have got his name right. Ainsley Lister. I really like this guy's playing, and he's very humble, and he seems like a nice guy. I've seen him on TPS. I've seen him on Anderton's as well years ago. I think he was on there. So, you know, but I'm not buying it because I wanted the Ainsley Lister amp. I'm buying it because he seems to have put together, along with Rift, an amp that could be really interesting for me to explore. Again, you know, this journey is it's always taking you off in different directions, isn't it? In one point, I'm saying, you know, look inward and find what's there, and in other ways, I'm saying, oh look, there's something else that I can try. That's just reality for me, and probably for a lot of you as well. It's also fun. I mustn't forget that. All of this sort of like introspection and deep thinking let's not forget, it's just really good fun to have a go. And that's essentially what this is. So yeah, I do regret selling this guitar. On paper, one of the best guitars I've ever come across. In real life, you know, as I said, I developed a bond with it yesterday that I hadn't before then. And I'm sort of glad I'm going to learn a lesson from it, which is that A, maybe be happy with what you've got and make the most out of it. And B, don't have preconceptions about what you're looking for. Don't worry about what other people think. Don't think that, oh, you need to have that cool looking Strat or that cool looking Telly, whatever it is, you know, whatever thought you've got. See if you bond with something yourself and play what makes you happy. So, you know, who knows, in a year or two on the channel, you might see another Semi-Hollow, you might see, you know, a Paul Reed Smith that fulfills that, or another guitar that fulfills that. This guitar just had a really beautiful, rounded off, clean tone that none of my other guitars actually have, so I have sort of missed out on that. But there you go. As I said, it's all good fun in the end, and I'm really enjoying this journey. I hope you're enjoying sticking along with me, seeing all the silliness as I buy gear, sell gear, and try and improve my playing. And if you've not been on my channel before, I'm giving away a pedal, which is over here. All you have to do is publicly subscribe to the channel. When I hit 2,500 subscribers, I'm going to give this BB preamp away. And you need to just comment as well, and I'll put all the names in a hat like I've done the last 2 times, and I'll send this anywhere in the world. But yeah, if you've enjoyed seeing me regret the sale of this guitar, then please give this video a thumbs up. Cheers.